Good, so now we will tune Windows XP. We have a few programs for that. We will start with XP Anti-Spy. Where is XP Anti-Spy? So it seems while we terminated it, something went wrong. While we're at it, let's check program files. Cool mouse is arrange icon by name. I don't like icons, I like details. Okay. Yeah, here's C mouse 97. Right mouse click, delete. Thank you. Good. Where's XP Anti-Spy? Okay. Go to E basic utils tune XP Anti-Spy beta. Yes. Okay, I understand. This program is not being installed. It just executed. So we go on program files, just did copy, now we do paste, and now we move it inside the utils directory. Okay, there is one shortcoming here when we do that, and that is he will not copy it under all users but only under admin, and I don't want that. So I want admin, start menu, utils, here we find you, F2, and change the name to XP Anti-Spy. No need for the beta, the word beta inside it, and yeah, perfect, just move it. And now we delete this subdirectory. Okay, start programs, utils, sort by name, start XP Anti-Spy. Okay, now we go on mode special. Okay, we will choose neutral, and then we choose empfohlen, and then we press Einstellung übernehmen. That means apply settings. Now we finished that. There is one thing I have to point out. Media player is fine. He will just avoid using the internet as much as possible. He will not send any error reporting. Okay. It's this one, scripting host deaktivieren, which means deactivate scripting host. The scripting host lets you run scripts, which are basically nothing else other than just programs, but programs you sort of can, yeah, you open an editor, type some text in there, save it, and that's your script. So no need to have a programming environment, compile the program, and have an EXE file, like an executable, or an MSI file that you then double click and start. No, it's just something very simple. and very powerful, and you don't use it a lot, but some programs use it sometimes, and it can cause us a lot of harm, so viruses like to use it. So because you don't use it a lot, you deactivate it, stopping a lot of viruses, a kind of virus attack. So you have to know that for example, if you want to change the serial number of Windows, you will use scripts for that. So if the scripting host is deactivated, you can change the serial number. That's a good application. So you have to know that if you need an application that needs the scripting host, you have to first activate it again, run your script, and then deactivate it here again. That's basically the most important function. And kein Autoplay für Datenträger, which means a CD and so forth, USB. They are not using Autoplay anymore, which is very nice. Autoplay is just causing too much trouble. If, for example, you put a USB inside, it has a virus, so without you noticing, the Autoplay executes the virus, infects your system, and you don't know how it happened. You have an infected system. So with the autoplay deactivated, your system will not get infected. Will only get infected if you open the USB flash and execute the virus yourself. So if you then execute the virus, well, it was your fault. So deserve the virus? No, you don't. But it happens. Okay. This is the part about the networks. Not so important, the settings, but the scripting host, that's a critical one. So empfohlen means recommended, so we have the recommended settings. There is one point here that says Windows Update. If you want to run Windows Update, I mean this XP anti-spy, even though it says XP, can also be used for Windows 7, 8, and 10. You would go on Windows Update and enable it. You will see that a few, like automatic update deaktivieren. Now it's deactivated. If you would press, you would change that setting and activate Windows Update. So normally you would go empfohlen, activate, Windows Update, activate if you need Windows Update. If you don't need Windows Update, just leave it on empfohlen. Now Windows Update is not activated, which is fine. Windows doesn't get any updates anymore anyways. So that was program number 1. Program number 2, Tweak GUI, is a Microsoft program that gives you access to hidden functions in Windows. Okay. I'll just go through them fast, but I don't plan on changing actually anything here. I will change this to 8. The problem is sometimes you move the mouse, and while moving it you are double clicking. Before you were able to 2 pixel only, and he would still recognize it as double click. Now you can move 8 pixel, which gives you a larger area to perform the function, and it's a little bit more convenient, but actually not worth mentioning. But just since we're now at it, we can just as well change it. The slide error is really neat. I will leave it at the normal one. This feature of repair is sometimes useful. For example, if your icons are not working, you can just click on whatever is not working, press repair now, he will try to repair it, and in case of the icon it did work for me in the past. Okay, finished. There are a lot of settings, as you could see, to customize windows to your likes. We'll just leave it at the default, it's the easiest. Makes less confusion. Okay, so next stop, Xsetup Pro. We go on Classic. Tools. Sure, you can also read the tips. I'm sure they are very insightful. It has different categories, and inside each category a lot of subcategories, and according to the option that he offers you, you can change this or that setting. One thing that I want to mention is this button here. It's record mode. We will start it now. It basically says that he's creating a file with all the changes that you have done, so that when you have a same computer or similar computer, instead of redoing all the changes again, you just use that file to automatically make all the changes without going through all the settings inside this program. Yes, you want to start recording. Virtual paranoia. By the way, these settings are not unique, so you can find one setting now here under virtual paranoia and the same thing under network again. So just keep that in mind. Set registration done. No need that. I don't think we even need that. Just used to. I'm just used to doing that. A lot of settings now to go through. I think we disabled the messenger service in our Windows Lite, just out of habit. We use that option, even though it won't have any effect in our system. No automatic codec download and no updates. Auto-run programs. We don't want auto-run programs, so we are disabling them here. And the firewall needs, this is VirtualBox, should also be running, and virtual clone drive. Okay, now system settings. This function, by the way, is very useful. Let's say you install Windows XP and you activate it. With this function, you can make a backup of that activation. So you can just format Windows again and then restore the activation instead of going through all the activation process again. Okay, so Windows file protection is disabled in our case, since this is a test computer. You can live with that on a on a computer for daily work. On a business computer, I wouldn't recommend that. But then on a business computer, you wouldn't be using Windows XP. This is one of the functions I like a lot under security file system script files. These are script files, VBS, JS, and WSH. So when you accidentally click on them, instead of executing them, they will now just open inside the notepad. It has also a downside. Again, if you want to change the product key of Windows, that is a script file, a VBS file, and now if you double click on the file, instead of executing it, it will just open the notepad. So if you actually want to change your product key, you have to first undo the setting here, run your script by double clicking on it, change your product key, and then enable this function here. But you also need to enable the Windows host, the Windows scripting host in XP anti-spy. Don't forget that. So you need to do 2 changes to change your product key afterwards. Yes, we have to mark and then we have to apply the settings, apply changes, otherwise you get lost. You see, we have too many options, but we are leaving as much as possible as default, so that, okay, the system restore, as I was telling, it makes backup of important files, your system registry for example, so that when you do some changes to the computer, since you still have the original files from before, you can undo those changes just by sort of going with the system restore to an earlier configuration state of your computer. But normally you would want to have this activated, especially on a business computer. We have it now deactivated to save space. So just keep that in mind. So we'll totally deactivate it. PowerShell is not enabled, very nice. The bootviz program uses prefetch functionality. There's so many things you can change. Basically, you can customize any small detail, but if it doesn't give us any benefit, why bother? Okay, that's function that's important under file system, advanced options. Every time Windows accesses a file on an NTFS drive, he will record time and date when you read, wrote, whatever you did to the file, he will record the last access date. Oh, it is already deactivated. Great. So we want that deactivated, which was already the case. Good. The rest leave on the standard settings. Okay, there is now the option to create an advanced user access link, account link. I will do that and show you what it does. So it's this link here. If you click on it, he will open this user account window. Normally, if you go on Start, Control Panel, Users, it looks a little different. So this is the modern version, this is the old version, and I sometimes prefer the old version. For example, the group memberships, I can choose here whatever I need. While here we only have limited account and computer administrator, so less options. And here we have access to the advanced options. User, so I can activate, for example, the administrator account. Here I don't even see the administrator account. So it creates a shortcut that we are having now on the desktop that gives us fast access to some user settings. Okay, we don't want the ESAs to work in the background since the backup program will use very rarely. Okay, auto and hung up programs, why not? The program timeout are not enough. I will just double them from 5 to 10 seconds and on exit from 20 to 40 seconds. Okay. So even programs like Microsoft Office, we can set some settings here which are beyond Windows, but not interested now. We'll just leave the default. With these settings you could increase the security of Windows XP, but then again some functions could stop working, so either you know exactly what you need and know how to do it, or you leave it at the default when things are supposed to be working. The information is just information, nothing to change there. The printer schedule of priority I like to set below normal. Sometimes the printer hangs up, and if you have it at normal it will make your system noticeably slower. If you have it on below normal it won't affect the speed of your computer. You can then just, whenever you have time, restart instead of being forced to restart your computer because it's just slow. Here's some artist settings. We shouldn't forget that I think Windows XP is 2001, so we might even have Windows XP. Let me Google that. I come back to it. So we don't have to forget that it was created in a time when we were having complete different hardware. So 160 gigabyte hard disk was something tremendously big. Yeah, it was released on the 24th of August 2001 and released to the public on the 25th of October 2001. So they didn't have terabyte hard disks at that time. There is one folder, I'll show you. You can't even see it, it's hidden. It's a system folder. Yes, apply. Show me all protected operating system files. It's called system volume information. You cannot access it. You should first close this window. If you try to access it, it will give you an error message. With this setting, system volume information access will give it to this user with this name. You can only choose one name. Apply. I guess we have to okay, so we have a file on the desktop. This file on the desktop, we run it. Okay, just press any key. If I recall right, we just have to run this program once. Now I can double click on this folder and see what's inside. Nothing, because restores are not enabled. This is also the place where he will store the data for system restore. So now we can access it, but since it's a system file, don't play around with it. It's just for information, purposes. We don't want to see protected operating system files, so we'll hide it again. Okay, so appearance, system screensaver, common interface. So we want to enable clear type. On old, what they call CRT monitors, just normal font smoothing is fine. On LCD, you want to enable clear type. Okay, unknown file types, I want to enable the notepad. Yeah, it is there. Okay, I don't like the new search wizard, so I will disable it here. Okay, now let me see. Let's search for something called code page. Okay, attempt to improve Internet Explorer performance by cleaning up code pages. Yes, you want to run that. Looks like we have all the functions we need, so we finish recording mode. XP light except dot rec. Save. Not restart the computer now. So in the future, just double click on this file. That's the same as we just did manually. And these are all the changes that we did. He created the link advanced user account.bat, so he couldn't. This is this file here. That's not inside this registry file. This sysvol info file is also not inside it. Let's delete all of that. Makes the file a little bit, not a lot, just a very little bit smaller. Okay, file, save, good, close. I know this is very tedious to go through all the settings. There's no way around it. Okay, what else? Okay, now then let's go to the computer management first. The computer management can be easily accessed. Right mouse click on my computer and choose manage. If you don't already have administrative rights, he will ask you to enter your password to gain administrative rights. Inside you have local user and groups, which was what I just showed you before. You can activate the administrator account, deactivate it. You can use share folders. Okay, as it's supposed to be, there are none. Event view, performance logs, the device manager. So every component in your system, like for example a mouse, needs a driver and settings, and here inside the device manager it's all collected all in one place. And right mouse click, you have update, the option update driver, uninstall it, scan for hardware changes, or see the properties. If we go on properties, it's telling us the device is working properly. Advanced drivers, here you'll see that which driver version, which driver is installed. You can change that. Advanced settings, you can change the sample rate for this specific item. So for the PS2 mouse, we won't change anything now. Details to this device and the resources it's using. ERQ interrupt 12. Okay, so the next interesting point is disk management. Disk management In more advanced versions, even let you resize the hard disk. In Windows XP you cannot resize it. This is why we have the program. I'll show you. Our May Partition Assistant Standard Edition 6.0. And now we want English. So this is our partition. I could resize it. And here create a new partition. There are many things that can be done. And if I would press now on apply, he would actually do that. I will just close the program because I don't want to do any changes. But you can change the drive letter, for example, format. Actually, this one you cannot format because it's the one that has my system on it, but normally you would be able to format it. So here you see drive C, drive D, CD-ROM, and drive F, virtual clone, no clone drive, CD-ROM or DVD. Okay, this concludes the computer management. Here are still some other programs that will now access directly. Next stop. All programs, utils, administrative tools, local security policy. One very effective way to keep your system safe is to separate the programs from the data. What I want to say is that you have a place for your data, your Word file, your PDF file, and you have a place where you have your executable files, your programs. And you can only run programs in the area of the you should only run programs in the area of the programs, while if you have a program in the area of data, you should get a message that this is not allowed. This way it sort of prevents quite a few malicious programs from actually executing them, from being executed. And to implement such a policy, we start the local security setting, software restriction policies, and you will see it's no software restriction policies defined. To define software restriction policies, we right mouse click and choose create new policies. Already created, that's fast. Trusted publisher is not of interest. Designated file types, we need to do some small change. The file type LNK, we have to delete that. Okay. We don't consider links to be executable files. We can also add more file types. For high security systems, business systems, I would highly recommend that. For a testing system, possible but not urgently needed. Enforcement, we want to enforce it for all except administrator. So the software restriction policies will work on the normal users but not on the admin user. That's sort of the idea. So this way we can always bypass it. So if I download a program, I normally download it in under C, documents and settings, my username, and then my documents, and then my downloads. That's the directory where it's being saved, and that is a directory that, well, is in the area of the data. So if you would download a program, you would execute it as a normal user, I would expect to get an error message. But we can bypass that error message by starting the program as admin. I will show you what I mean. Okay, so we choose all users except local administrators, and we apply this only to files except libraries, because if you choose to all files it can have a performance penalty. It can make your system slower. We don't want that. Okay, security level is the simple one, unrestricted. Disallowed would say everything is not allowed except what you allow specifically. Now everything is allowed except what you prohibit explicitly. So we'll go on additional rules, and we will now start to prohibit things. We choose new path rule, browse, and everything under my programs, C, documents and settings, okay, is being disallowed. Next path rule, everything on D is not allowed. Everything under E is not allowed. Everything under F will not be allowed. Everything under G is not allowed. And H. And let's choose Z. Okay, that should already do the trick. As I mentioned, the admin user is not affected. It's only the normal user. Under Windows 7 or Windows 10, all users except the administrator, the account that is really called administrator, is affected by such a rule. But yeah, well, you would just do right mouse click, run as administrator, to bypass these limitations. Good. So last but not least, now we go to services. Okay, so I sorted by the ones that were started, so I see what's running and see what I need, and what I don't need I just deactivate it. I have a guard agent which belongs to EaseUs to do backup. We don't want that, so I will just set it to manual and stop it. Same goes for the EaseUs agent. Set it to manual, stop it. Okay. The print spooler will set it to manual and stop it. On normal computers, you will be printing pretty often. Since this is a test server, a test computer, you will not be printing so often, so we can just start it or let it start when it really needs it. That's why it's on manual, and the rest of the time just leave it off, saving a little bit memory. Security account manager, system notification task, terminal services. This is, by the way, what happens when you stop the themes. It will change back to like Windows 2000 to look like Windows 2000. Now we activate it again, and it gets that classic Windows XP look. Okay. Press not working. Good. We can live with that. Good. It's 3 files. Let me copy them. To E double point. This was install system Windows XP ISO. No. Then here Windows XP. Yes. Right mouse click, paste. So here we have our Windows XP English Service Pack 3, not 2. Service Pack 3 Lite CD, and these are the 2 batch files, and this is the file with the X Setup Pro changes. Good. Now that we have this finished, let's run the program HDD scan once. On a normal computer you will see here smart blinking on, and you can select it and see the smart data. The only reason why I have this program. Now it's disabled because in a virtual machine it's useless, not needed. Okay, let's run boot this. So we want next boot plus driver trace. Restart automatically after tracing. Okay. Restart now. And we'll allow. We allow again. Yes, we allow again. Again. Sure. Why not? Again. Again. So here now we recorded the boot phase. Now we choose optimize system. And it's supposed to help improve a little bit the system. Okay, I guess that was it. Now I want to run ultra diffra. Here we have this option, Einstellungssprache, and change this to English, US. Okay, settings, options, no need for that. Sorting, boot time scan, also has boot time scan like bootviz. We do a full optimization. returning off the indexing service for the complete disk. For all the files on the disk. Actually, I'm expecting to get an error message that this file is open and you can't change it. And then I tell him to ignore all. So what he's doing, he's copying the files that were in the beginning to the end of the hard disk, as you see, and then he will copy them back, but in a new order, starting from the beginning. And this way he makes sure that the files that are being used in the beginning, they are all together and not what you call fragmented. Means that the file starts and ends without any spaces in between, without any need to jump to read the complete file. With so-called modern SSD files, defragmenting is not really needed and useful, because the way that you see the files arranged on the hard disk or on the SSD is not the way they are really actually stored on the disk. So here you can read, he says there are 1034 fragments. There are a few folders we can delete. Let's do so. And they start with a $sign and are not used. They are to uninstall. They are to uninstall updates, but since we're not uninstalling them anymore, there is no use for it. There are a lot of log files we don't need. So let's delete them just as well. Temp files, we don't want temporary files. Delete. Yes. Log file, log file, log file, log file, log, 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 old, log, two log files, log file, log file, log file, log file, log file. Delete the temporary file. content, DLL cache, select, view, show status bar, 84 files in 84 megabyte in 180 files, delete them all, see what happens. Yes. Details, sort by size, the other way around. Screensaver from Google that will show you the pictures, your pictures. No need for it. Okay, let's go back. Software distribution. Downloads. Okay. Copy. Go to E. Paste. These are the updates that were installed after we ran WSUS down offline. So I will first copy them and then delete the rest. Actually, we should first delete and then run ultra-defrag. Okay, let's cancel it. Cancel. We copy it, now we can delete. Please notice that deleting doesn't delete them, it only moves them to the recycle bin. So they're just available as before inside the recycle bin though. Okay, what else are we left with? The tracker software. No, not tracker. The ease us to do backup. So C program files ease us. To do backup, you will find under bin and then under Linux ISO a file that is 56 megabyte, but the same file you will find also here, just under bin, called okay, let's sort them, go to details, sort them by size. Okay, here it's called image, and same file is called here also image. So we'll just delete this copy of the image, no need to have it twice. saved us 56 megabytes. The WinPE, yeah, here WinPE, right mouse click, it's 85 megabytes big. We can just delete it because we'll not create a WinPE disk, we already have it. Okay, I already saved 130 megabyte now. Twenty megabytes for 64-bit. No need, get rid of it. I think it is a wise idea to just compress the complete hard disk. So we'll go on properties. Finally I get this message I was talking to you about. Just press ignore all. We cannot change the attributes of files that are open. In that case, let us close ultra-debug. Okay, and you see here compress drive to save space. We will activate that and press OK. He's asking us apply to C or C in subfolders and files. We'll choose C subfolders and files. Okay. Let him run through for a few minutes. Less than 11 hours for sure. Okay, finished. Let's empty the recycle bin. Okay, what's the data we have here? These two files we don't need anymore. No, where are the local files? Local settings. Okay, temp. Delete all. Temporary internet folders. Select and delete all. Empty the recycle bin. Okay. The size of our program files are 450 megabyte on the disk, 684 total. I think not much we can save. And the Windows directory is 755 megabyte big, 800 total. Let's check this cleanup. Yes, yes, yes. We can save us 3 megabyte only. Okay, better than nothing. What's under more options? No system restored, install programs, Windows components. That's fine. Okay, nothing we can change Okay. So now we can let him run ultra defrag. Full defragmentation. Again, he will copy the things to the back and then write them again. We're using 1.5 gigabyte and have 2.3 empty. Good. This will now take a little while. So over 2 gigabyte free, more than 50%. Notice that there is a small fragmentation of 0.02%. It's normal to find something like that. Okay. Okay, so we know it's discharging, but the rest of the data is not precise. So battery input view is nice, but has to run in the host, not the guest. now start the Internet Explorer because I want something very special. Block permanently. Yep. I want this program never to access the internet. No, don't make it a default browser. Good. Okay. So far, so good. So we made some big improvements. We have almost a perfect system. Okay, that should be sufficient for today. We'll shut down. Continue tomorrow.